she claims to have, had all of this ready even when the initial New York Times article was published, right? They claim that they published this information because they had thousands and thousands and thousands of pages that they reviewed of evidence, and that's why they felt confident publishing this article. I didn't believe that there was, even 50 pages of information that they reviewed, but that's my own it's my own personal opinion, but it's where's the 1,000 documents that they reviewed?
Blake Lively's lawyer exposes shocking cover-up in court. What really happened? The buzz is that Blake's supposedly faithful legal defender has come forward with blockbuster allegations that not only blindsided Hollywood, but had everyone reaching for extra popcorn. Rumor has it this lawyer got a closer look behind the scenes than anyone realized, and discovered a cover-up so outrageous she simply couldn't keep quiet. Yes, you heard that right. The attorney hired to protect Blake is allegedly the one blowing the lid off this swirling drama.
Text exchange between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni during the filming of It Ends With Us. Hey Blake, did you rewrite Lily's lines for today's scene? Oh yeah, nothing big though, just a few changes that I think better portray Lily's thoughts. That's cool, I don't mind, I trust you. Could you just let me know next time in advance? I want as much of a woman's perspective as possible. So do your thing, I just want to be kept in the loop so Ryle is reacting to the right lines when we film. Gotcha. Don't worry, you're still the director. No need to snap at me. So that passive-aggressive exchange was part of a text from May 15th, 2023, and then they sent each other voice memos. More things to come with this to see if the Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni lawsuits go to.
Imagine your own lawyer striding into the spotlight to say, oh, by the way, you'll never believe what my client's been hiding. Could this meltdown get any more bizarre? But hold on, because the real shocker is the supposed motive behind this reveal. Some say the lawyer felt deceived by her star client, like the attorney was never given the full story, and only pieced everything together once Justin Baldoni's team started releasing receipts. Think top-secret emails, behind-the-scenes voice notes, and text messages so juicy they could turn your hair gray. Whatever the final truth, it's apparently so big that Blake's own legal ally walked away from the table, leaving fans and critics alike wondering if her entire case might collapse. And if you think that's the end of the mess, buckle up. We've got backstabbing, hush-hush payouts, and alleged media manipulations that feel straight out of a Netflix thriller. Except you can't binge-watch this fiasco, it's unfolding in real time.
It's absolutely insane that this law, I understand why the law was done, but when you think about it, like this is how people can get ahead. They can just threaten somebody and say, I will claim that you tried to sexually harass me.
Word around Tinseltown is that the evidence Justin's camp dropped was a stunner, like opening a birthday gift and finding out it's not socks but a freshly lit firecracker. According to whispers, nobody from Blake's team expected these details to be made public so quickly. Some folks claim they only realized the magnitude of the receipts when the lawyer reviewing them nearly toppled out of her chair. As the story goes, she confronted Blake, discovered even more possible misrepresentations, and decided to blow the whistle. Has anyone else's jaw hit the floor yet? Allegedly, the meltdown revolves around the same scorching legal war that had tabloids frothing at the mouth. Blake going toe-to-toe with Justin, each side claiming the other orchestrated some diabolical smear campaign. Yet people on Justin's side say the real smear machine has always been Team Blake. The difference now? The receipts. They're not just random screenshots of so-and-so's drama. These are said to be time-stamped messages and recordings that, in the words of one insider, make the entire narrative crumble. If you're imagining an off-Broadway play about mean girls in suits and ties, you're not far off, but let's rewind.
I defend Justin Baldoni in this lawsuit with Blake Lively because I think she's horrible and she's made up this whole thing because she tried to steal his movie. But he is the most overly feminized man I've had to endure in recent history. Everything he says is self-flagellating over the fact that he's a man. But he's, to me, is sort of the embodiment of what happens when you totally emasculate a man. And then she continued, she took that stiletto and stuck it in his heart when he was down there self-flagellating, being so sorry for anything having to do with his drone. And so that's what happens to you.
Not that long ago, the press was practically on Blake's speed dial, painting her as the righteous underdog who had endured unimaginable torment. Then, ironically, she brought a big lawsuit against Justin. Almost overnight, major media publications jumped on board. One outlet in particular published a lengthy piece that seemed to crown Blake the victor before the final battle had even begun. Fans said, well, that proves it. Justin must be the bad guy. But slow your roll. Once he fired back with documents of his own, that saintly aura around Blake started to dim. How dim, you ask? Like forgetting to pay your electric bill in the dead of winter. No wonder Blake's lawyer supposedly pulled a Houdini. The rumor is that this attorney realized the case wasn't just losing, it was disintegrating. The cover-up, if it really is a cover-up, could be about everything from artificially shaping media coverage to withholding key facts about the situation so the public would see only one side. And you can't exactly parade half-truths in front of a judge and expect a round of applause. You also can't keep quiet if your client's secrets might land you in hot water. So, the attorney, in a swift move to preserve her reputation, is rumored to have spilled the beans, then dashed for the nearest exit sign. Cue the comedic meltdown with suits flying, phones ringing off the hook, and someone shrieking, "We need crisis PR stat." Speaking of PR, let's talk about Ryan Reynolds, the other half of Hollywood's it couple. He's apparently as eager to distance himself from Blake's meltdown as a cat from a water hose. Even though folks on Justin's side say Ryan had more involvement than he's letting on, the A-list star wants out of all legal entanglements. Like a rowdy guest who shows up to a wedding uninvited, starts a conga line, and then claims it's not his party, Ryan's going, "Wait, hold on, I don't want anything to do with this." But it's not that simple. Justin's lawyer claims they have fingerprints linking Ryan to backdoor maneuvers, like pressuring talent agencies to drop Justin or pushing negative headlines. Ryan apparently wants to wave a magic wand and vanish, but Friedman, Justin's pitbull attorney, is barking, "Not so fast, buddy." So, how did we get here? The story, at its heart, is about control. Blake Lively allegedly tried to control the narrative from day one, thinking a combination of star power, hush-hush deals, and a high-profile lawsuit could overshadow anything Justin said. Maybe she believed the public would side with her because, well, she's Blake Lively. But Justin isn't some random extra. He knows how to play hardball, and when he and his team produced that avalanche of evidence, Blake's illusions took a nosedive. Now, the gossip machine says she's in damage control mode, except it's hard to contain the fire when your lawyer is out there fanning the flames by revealing shocking cover-ups in court. What's the nature of these cover-ups? Well, rumor has it that behind the scenes, Blake would butter up the press to publish only her side of events, cherry-picking details that painted Justin as an unhinged villain. Then, certain text messages or HR complaints that might contradict her story would get heavily redacted before submission to the court. This apparently let her spin a more dramatic tale of wrongdoing. But you can't redline every document forever. As soon as Justin shared the uncut versions, it was game over. People who once rallied behind Blake started giving her serious side-eye, thinking maybe she'd orchestrated a grand show of half-truths and illusions. Meanwhile, the meltdown grows comedic when we hear about how Blake allegedly treated her own legal crew. One insider cackled that she'd insult them mid-meeting, question their competence, and even withhold payment. Can you imagine? You call your lawyer incompetent, then expect them to fight your battles in court. That's like smacking your chef with a spatula and then whining that your souffle fell. Not exactly a recipe for success. What's more, some claim her anger wasn't limited to her legal circle. She'd apparently dragged co-stars and even production staff into her spats, demanding people choose sides. But hold on to your seats because the comedic meltdown doesn't stop there. At one point, when the scandal first exploded, folks online started unearthing old interviews that showed Blake snapping at reporters, making weird jokes about sensitive issues, or side-eyeing co-stars in the middle of press junkets. Everyone said, "Wait, is she always like this?" Then, the rumor mill kicked into high gear, saying that a lot of people in Hollywood have strange or negative stories about working with her. Only they kept quiet because, well, she's a huge star. Now, though, it's open season. People are more comfortable calling out how she might have burned bridges or breezed past questionable boundaries. Fans used to see her as this radiant, charming presence. Today, they wonder if maybe that was a spectacular performance. On top of it all, the New York Times fiasco remains a major talking point. They published that intense piece slamming Justin for orchestrating a smear machine. But ironically, the piece came out mere hours after Blake filed her lawsuit, which is suspiciously quick for a newspaper that claims to do thorough research and fact-checking. Observers speculated that the Times must have gotten some insider info before the actual filing. Justin responded with legal claims of his own, saying they colluded with Blake's side to set the narrative. And that's where things get extra. messy. Because if it's proven that major news outlets were part of an orchestrated campaign to condemn Justin without letting him speak, that's not just sloppy journalism. That's an entire storyline out of a daytime drama about power and deception. Now we get to the best part. Justin's countersuit is rumored to be worth hundreds of millions, covering defamation, emotional distress, and lost business opportunities. Normally, folks in Hollywood settle these spats behind closed doors with some hush money and a statement about creative differences. But Friedman, Justin's legal bulldog, seems determined to see this in front of a jury. He's hammered on the point that you can't put a price tag on the personal damage done here. And besides, after that Times article, a large chunk of the public already believed Justin was the devil incarnate. Friedman wants a court decision, presumably so Justin can say, "See, I was telling the truth all along." That's the one thing a giant check can't buy. In the middle of this fiasco, we have comedic moments like Ryan Reynolds allegedly calling executives at WME or other agencies, telling them to cut ties with Justin. Some folks imagine Ryan in a superhero costume, dramatically barking orders over the phone. Friedman's reaction? Your cameo in this legal drama is bigger than you'd like, my friend. It's basically the Hollywood version of that game where everyone tries to pass blame like a hot potato. Except the potatoes are on fire, and nobody wants their hands burned. Gossip hounds are also seizing on the fact that Blake might have tried to bribe or coax the media into writing negative stories about Justin, all while claiming that it was Justin who was twisting the press to attack her. Classic double standard, right? If that's true, it's the epitome of accuse your opponent of what you yourself are doing. The comedic irony is almost too rich. The press, who once rallied around Blake, now wants to pick through the fiasco to find out if they were played, like an off-key piano. After all, no journalist loves the thought of being used as a mouthpiece for half-baked accusations. At this point, the meltdown is unstoppable. Suppose you're Blake Lively. Your lawsuit is teetering, your own lawyer is out there unveiling a shocking cover-up, your co-stars are whispering about your mean streak, your husband is trying to vanish from the entire fiasco, and the other side is brandishing a stack of evidence so tall, you'd need a ladder to see the top. Do you keep fighting, or do you wave the white flag, send a heartfelt apology to your fans, and disappear on a European vacation? Unfortunately for Blake, rumor has it she's too stubborn to throw in the towel. That means we're gearing up for the next episode of this reality show. From the Twilight Zone, past the popcorn, indeed. In another comedic twist, fans are already joking on social media about potential cameo appearances. Will someone from Blake's past, maybe an ex-co-star or an old friend, step forward with a brand new story about how controlling she could be? Will more lawyers come forward if she tries to hire them and then forgets to mention certain details? About the case, the memes basically write themselves. Wanted, courageous attorney for high-profile meltdown. Must enjoy daily chaos, ambiguous instructions, and sporadic paychecks. Apply within. Meanwhile, Justin's side sits comfortably, continuing to leak evidence that apparently dismantles Blake's claims piece by piece. Friedman has made it clear, settlement is off the table. He wants a victory that's loud and legal, not quiet and compromised. It's a scenario that suggests this drama will only intensify as it hurtles toward a courtroom showdown. Will we see a televised trial? At this point, it wouldn't surprise anyone if cameras showed up and some streaming service offered a behind-the-scenes docuseries. With the level of comedic absurdity swirling around, Netflix could practically rename this fiasco Hollywood's most jaw-dropping lawsuit, the musical. For those keeping score, the damage to Blake's image is already considerable. Once heralded as a style icon and the sweetheart of red carpets, she's now more of a question mark. Even if she somehow wriggles out of the legal jam, the public has gotten a glimpse of how messy things can be behind the glamour. And let's not forget that curiosity is a hungry beast. The more people dig, the more old interviews and questionable remarks they unearth. She can't erase the internet's memory. If it's out there, fans will find it, share it, and discuss it until the cows come home. Still, the comedic meltdown spin is in full force because so many elements are purely farcical. Picture a mega-famous actress who tries to hush up a problem by tossing a lawsuit into the ring, only to watch it transform into a giant, unstoppable beast that devours everything in its path, including her own lawyer. You can't make this stuff up. Well, maybe you can if you're writing a satire, but this is apparently real life, folks. Hollywood, never one to shy away from drama, seems to have struck comedic gold with the saga of Blake Lively's meltdown. In short, the scandal has reached new heights. The attorney who was supposed to defend Blake might be the key figure unmasking a cover-up. Whether that's because she felt morally compelled, wanted to protect her professional reputation, or simply realized her client's story didn't add up is for the court to decide. But if you believe the chatter, the meltdown behind closed doors has become so intense that it leaked out into public view, like a pot of sauce boiling over on the stove. The comedic angle? Everyone's left racing around with paper towels, trying to mop up the mess before it permanently stains the entire kitchen. So, where does it go from here? That's the big question. Will Blake try to spin these lawyer revelations as some sort of misunderstanding? Oh, she's just disgruntled because I refused to pay her for an unfair invoice. Will Ryan cut ties to save his own brand? Or will he eventually throw an arm around his wife and accept that they're in this together? And will Justin's unstoppable evidence train keep steaming ahead, flattening every piece of PR spin that tries to derail it? One thing's certain, no matter how vigorously Team Blake attempts to hush these shocking revelations, the cat is out of the bag. You can't unsee a lawyer stepping into the limelight, basically shouting, "Wait till you hear what really happened." If the meltdown so far is any indication, we're in for a spectacular final showdown. Keep your eyes peeled, because if there's one thing Hollywood thrives on, it's a dramatic confrontation that leaves us simultaneously entertained, horrified, and weirdly hungry for more. And let's be honest, it's kind of darkly funny to watch super wealthy, super famous people scuffle with one another over allegations of who was mean first. The comedic meltdown is real, but as ridiculous as it all sounds, the consequences for Justin and indeed for Blake are pretty serious. Reputations are being blown to bits, potential future projects are on hold, and there's a possibility of a jury eventually deciding who's at fault. Once the final verdict arrives, it won't just be comedic drama, it'll be a matter of legal record. Now that's something even the best PR spin can't wipe away, so brace yourselves for the next wave of headlines, the next wave of so-called leaks, and possibly the next wave of meltdown moments. Because Blake Lively's lawyer, who was expected to stand by her in the darkest hour, has apparently chosen to fling open the curtains and let the sun shine in on secrets nobody imagined. And no matter how you slice it, that's a recipe for chaos, confusion, and if you can keep a sense of humor, some top-tier popcorn-worthy entertainment.